The council chamber floated in the darkness of space, a massive ring of metal and glass that orbited the ancient Nexus Prime station. Inside, representatives from 847 different species sat in their designated sections. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some had scales, others had skin that glowed with bioluminescence. They were the Galactic Council. They had ruled this corner of the universe for over 10,000 years. Ambassador Ji-Woo Park stood at the center platform, her small human form dwarfed by the creatures around her. She wore the simple gray uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Behind her stood Captain Dae-won Kim, his military decorations gleaming under the chamber lights. They had traveled 3 months to reach this place, carrying data that could save billions of lives. Gu activated the holographic display. A massive tear in space appeared above them, pulsing with sickly purple and green energy. The image showed readings from Earth's deep space telescopes and quantum sensors. Numbers scrolled past, each one more alarming than the last. Honorable members of the council, Gi-woo began, her voice steady, despite her racing heart. Earth has detected a dimensional rift forming at the edge of our galaxy. Our scientists have been studying it for 18 months. The rift is growing. Something is trying to break through from another dimension. A rumbling laugh echoed through the chamber. Counselor Vexstar, a reptilian being 3 times the size of any human, leaned forward in his seat. His scales were deep crimson, and his yellow eyes gleamed with contempt. "The humans are frightened again," Vexstar said, his voice booming. "You have been part of this council for only 50 years. 50 years. My species has sailed between stars for 30,000 years. We have seen anomalies before. Space bends. Reality shifts. These things pass." His other counselors nodded in agreement. Some made sounds that might have been laughter in their own languages. Ji-Woo did not flinch. She expanded the holographic display, showing more data. "This is not a normal anomaly. We have detected energy signatures that do not match any known physics. Whatever is on the other side is alive. It is conscious, and it is hungry." High Chancellor Morthex, an insectoid being so old that parts of his carapace had turned gray, clicked his mandibles together. "Ambassador Park, your species is young. You see danger everywhere because you do not yet understand the universe. We have faced real threats before. We know what extinction looks like. This is not it." Captain Dae-won stepped forward. His jaw was tight with frustration. "With respect, Chancellor, we are not asking you to take our word alone. Send your own ships. Verify our data. But do it quickly. Our models show the rift will reach critical mass in less than 1 year." Models Vexstar spat the word like poison. "Human models. Human fears. Your species fought wars over every resource on your single planet. You nearly destroyed yourselves 3 times before you even left your solar system. Now you want us to panic because your computers show pretty colors?" Gi-woo felt her hands clench into fists, but she kept her voice calm. "We fought those wars because we did not listen to warnings. We ignored scientists who told us about climate change. We ignored leaders who begged for peace. We ignored every sign until it was almost too late. We learned from those mistakes. That is why we are here now, begging you not to make the same ones." The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then Morthex spoke again. "We appreciate your concern, Ambassador. But the Council has procedures? We cannot mobilize resources based on unverified claims from a junior member species. We will add your report to our scientific review process. In approximately 3 years, we will have a comprehensive analysis." 3 years. Dae-won could not keep the anger from his voice. In 3 years, that rift will have torn half the galaxy apart. Captain Vexstar's voice was cold now. "Remember where you are. Remember who you address. Your species may be clever builders of weapons, but you do not command here. You do not dictate to us." Gu placed a hand on Dae-won's arm, stopping him from saying more. She looked up at the assembled council, meeting as many eyes as she could. "Then Earth formally requests permission to build defensive installations in our sector. We request permission to expand our military fleet. We request permission to establish early warning systems throughout council space." Denied, Morthex said immediately. "Such actions would violate 17 different treaties. No single species may militarize beyond their home system without council approval. That is the law that keeps peace between us. Even if that law kills us all? Jiwoo asked quietly. The law is the law, the Chancellor replied. Jiwoo looked at Day One, then back at the council. She took a deep breath. Then Earth requests an emergency vote. Will the council authorize a united defense initiative to investigate and prepare for the dimensional rift? The vote was swift. 847 lights appeared in the chamber. 846 glowed red for rejection. Only one glowed blue for approval. Earth's own vote. Jiwoo nodded slowly. She closed the holographic display with a gesture. The image of the rift vanished, but its purple-green glow seemed to linger in the air. We came here in peace, Jiwoo said, her voice carrying to every corner of the massive chamber. We came as friends, as partners, as members of this council. We shared our knowledge freely. We asked for nothing but the chance to protect ourselves and to protect you. She paused, letting the words sink in. You have made your decision. We will remember it. And when the darkness comes, when the rift tears open and something terrible crawls through, remember this moment. Remember that we warned you. Remember that we begged you to listen. Remember that we tried. She turned to leave, Day One falling in step beside her. The other human delegates followed, their footsteps echoing in the silent chamber. As they reached the door, Jiwoo stopped. She looked back one last time. We came in peace. We warned you in friendship. Remember this moment when the screaming starts. Then she walked out, leaving the council behind. On the ship back to Earth, Jiwoo sent an encrypted message. Just 2 words. Initiate protocol. Terran shield. Earth would stand alone. 3 months had passed since Earth's delegation walked out of the council chamber. The planet had changed in ways that would have seemed impossible before. Every factory, every shipyard, every research facility worked day and night. Humanity had one goal now: survive. Admiral Haeonwoo. Choi stood in the command center buried deep beneath the mountains of South Korea. Holographic displays surrounded him, showing the status of every human installation in the solar system. Ships under construction. Weapons being tested. Colonies being fortified. The numbers climbed higher every day. Status report, Haeonwoo said. His voice calm despite the weight on his shoulders. A young officer responded immediately. Sir, Luna's shipyards have completed another 30 vessels. Mars Forge is ahead of schedule. The asteroid belt mining operations have doubled their output. We are meeting all targets for Project Fortress. Haeonwoo nodded. Project Fortress was the name they had given to their desperate plan. Turn the entire Sol system into a fortress. Make it so well defended that nothing could break through, not even the things from beyond. What about the research division? Haeonwoo asked. Dr. Yoonji Lee is ready to present her findings. The holographic displays changed. A woman appeared, her tired eyes barely visible behind her glasses. Dr. Yoonji Lee had not slept properly in months. She looked at the camera with an intensity that made even the Admiral uncomfortable. Admiral, we have analyzed every scrap of data about the rift, Yoonji said without preamble. I can now tell you exactly what we are facing. They are not invaders in the traditional sense. They are not even alive as we understand life. They exist in a dimension where matter and energy are the same thing. When they enter our reality, they consume everything. Planets, stars, living beings. They convert it all into pure energy that they feed on. Can they be killed? Haeonwoo asked the only question that mattered. Yes, Yoonji said, and a fierce smile crossed her face. They have a weakness. They exist partially in their dimension and partially in ours. If we can disrupt that connection, we can destroy them. I have designed weapons that should work. Quantum disruptors that will sever their dimensional anchor. Reality stabilizers that will prevent them from phasing out of our attacks should work. Haeonwoo raised an eyebrow. Will work. Yoonji corrected herself. I have tested them in simulations 10,000 times. I have tested them on the small dimensional tiers we have detected. They work, Admiral. We can fight these things. We can win. Haiyan-Wu felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. How long until we can equip the fleet? 2 months for the first batch of weapons. For months for full deployment, you have whatever resources you need, Haiyan-Wu said. Money means nothing if we are all dead. On the dark side of the moon, Colonel Taeyong Kong watched as his ships emerged from their hidden bays. The Ghost Fleet, they called it. 300 vessels designed with technology that should not exist yet. Ships that could phase partially into other dimensions, making them nearly invisible and untouchable. Ships equipped with the new quantum weapons. Taeyang had handpicked every pilot, the best of the best. Men and women who understood that this might be humanity's last stand. Captain Daewon Kim walked across the hangar bay toward his new command. The ship was sleek and black, its hull covered in dimensional phase emitters. It looked like a piece of the night sky had been carved into the shape of a predator. She is beautiful, Daewon said, running his hand along the hull. Taeyong smiled. She is deadly. The quantum disruptors are integrated into every weapon system. The dimensional drives will let you slip between realities. You will be a ghost to anyone trying to track you, even to them. Have we heard anything from the council? Daewon asked, though he already knew the answer. No, Taeyong said. They are silent. Either they think we are still preparing for nothing, or they are too proud to admit we were right. Or they are already dying and we do not know it yet, Daewon said quietly. The 2 men stood in silence for a moment, looking at the ship that might save humanity or die trying. Far above Earth, on the Mars Research Station, scientists worked on the dimensional anchors, massive devices that could stabilize reality itself. Each one required a power source equivalent to a small sun. Each one could protect an area the size of a solar system. Earth had 20 of them under construction. Dr. Yoonji visited the Mars station personally, checking every detail. She could not afford mistakes. Not now. The calculations are perfect, one of her assistants said. The anchors will work. Perfect is not good enough, Yoonji replied. They must be flawless. One mistake in the rift could expand instead of being contained. One error, and we kill everyone we are trying to save. She worked through the night, checking and rechecking. Her hands shook from exhaustion and too much caffeine. But she did not stop. Admiral Haiyan-Wu received reports from across human space. The news was grim, but not hopeless. Earth's economy had completely transformed. Entertainment industries had shut down. Luxury production had stopped. Everything was focused on survival. And somehow, people had accepted it. There were no riots. No protests. Humanity had seen the data. They knew what was coming. They chose to fight. Volunteers flooded the recruitment centers. Not just soldiers, engineers, doctors, teachers, willing to help train the next generation in case the current one fell. Old people who could not fight offered their savings. Children drew pictures of Earth's ships, sending them to the crews as good luck charms. Humanity had become one people, united by the threat that no one else believed was real. Then came the intercepts. Lieutenant Biora Shin was monitoring deep space communications when she picked up the signal. It was faint, scrambled, but definitely alien. She boosted the signal and cleaned up the interference. What she heard made her blood run cold. This is Outpost 779. We are under attack. Unknown hostiles. They are not ships. They are creatures. They are eating our shields. They are eating our station. They are eating the signal cut off. Biora immediately forwarded the message to Admiral Haiyan-Wu. Within minutes, every command center in human space had heard it. Where was that outpost? Haiyan-Wu asked. At the edge of Council space, Biora replied. Near the rift. Haiyan-Wu brought up a star map. The rift was marked in red, pulsing slowly. The location of Outpost 779 was marked in blue. It had been 3 light years from the rift. Now, it was dark. Send a message to the council, Haiyan-Wu ordered. Tell them what we have heard. Tell them it has begun. Tell them we will help if they ask, but they must ask. The message was sent, encrypted. Priority 1. The response came 6 hours later. Not from the Council leadership. From Counselor Vexstar himself, human paranoia is not evidence. One lost outpost does not make an invasion. Do not contact us again with your fear-mongering. Hyunwoo read the message 3 times. Then he deleted it. Close the borders, he ordered. No ships in or out of the Sol system without my direct authorization. We focus on our own defense now. The Council has made their choice. Captain Daewon received his orders that night. Take the Ghost Fleet on patrol at the edge of human space. Wait. Record everything as his ship launched into the darkness. Daewon looked at the distant stars and wondered how many of them would still be shining in a year. 6 months after Earth's warning, the rift tore open completely. Captain Sumin Han was there to see it happen. Her ship. The Shadow Runner hung in the darkness at the edge of Council space. It was one of Earth's new stealth vessels, invisible to almost every known scanning technology. Somina and her crew had been watching the rift for 3 weeks, recording every fluctuation, every pulse of energy. Captain Lieutenant Biora Shin said from the communications station, "The rift energy readings just spiked. They are off the scale." Sumin looked at her displays. Biora was right. The rift was no longer the slowly pulsing tear they had been observing. It was exploding outward, growing larger with every passing second. "Get us farther back," Sumin ordered. "Maintain stealth protocols. I want to see everything, but I do not want them to see us." The Shadow Runner drifted backward, its engines barely whispering. On the main screen, the rift continued to expand. It was massive now, kilometers wide and growing. The purple and green energy swirled like a wound in reality itself. Then they came through it first. Sumain thought they were ships. But ships had structure. Ships had purpose. These things were chaos given form. They looked like shadows that had learned to move. Like living darkness with too many angles. Some were small, no bigger than a fighter craft. Others were the size of space stations. They poured through the rift in thousands, then hundreds of thousands. "What are we looking at?" Sumin whispered. "The Devourers," Bior said, using the name Earth's scientists had given them. Just like Dr. Yunji predicted. The creatures moved through space in ways that violated physics. They did not fly. They simply existed in one location and then existed in another. Reality bent around them like water around stones. "Captain, I am picking up a massive Council fleet approaching," Biora said. "It is Counselor Vexstar's personal armada." Sumin watched as 10,000 Council warships emerged from faster-than-light travel. They were beautiful in their own way. Massive vessels representing dozens of different species, each one bristling with weapons that could crack planets. The pride of the Galactic Council, Vexstar's flagship, was at the center. A vessel 3 kilometers long and covered in enough firepower to destroy solar systems. "Patch me into their communications," Sumin ordered. "I want to hear what they are saying." Biora worked her console. A moment later, Vexstar's voice filled the bridge. "This is Counselor Vexstar to all Council forces. We face an unknown threat. Deploy standard engagement protocols. Eliminate all hostile entities. Show them the might of the Galactic Council." The Council fleet spread out into attack formation, their weapons powered up, energy signatures blazing across every spectrum. Then they fired. Thousands of energy beams, missiles, and kinetic rounds streaked toward the Devourers. It was the most concentrated firepower Sumin had ever witnessed. Enough destruction to vaporize entire star systems. The Devourers absorbed it all. The energy weapons hit them and simply vanished, converted into something else. The kinetic rounds passed through them like they were not even there. The missiles exploded and the Devourers grew larger, feeding on the blast energy. "No," Sumin said. No. The Devourers responded. They flowed toward the Council fleet like a wave of living night. When they touched the first ship, the vessel simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed. Not exploded. It's gone. Converted into energy and consumed. Ship after ship vanished. The Council forces tried to retreat, tried to regroup, tried everything they knew. Nothing worked. The Devourers moved faster than the ships could run. They phased through shields like they were not there. They consumed everything they touched. Vexter's voice came through again, no longer proud and commanding. Now it was filled with terror. All ships, retreat. Emergency faster than light jump. Get to the Nexus station. We need reinforcements. We need his transmission cut off as his flagship was swallowed by a devourer the size of a moon in less than 4 hours. 10,000 Council warships were gone. Not a single one escaped. Su-Min sat frozen in her command chair. Her crew stared at their screens in horror. "Send everything we recorded to Admiral Hanwoo," Su-Min said quietly. "Mark it Priority Alpha. Then get us out of here. Maximum stealth. If they notice us, we are dead." The Shadowrunners slipped away into the darkness as the Devourers spread out from the rift. They moved deeper into Council space, hunting for more energy to consume. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyanwoo watched the recording 3 times. Each time, his face grew harder. Around him, other military leaders watched in silence. "How many ships did they lose?" Someone finally asked. "All of them," Hyanwoo said. 10,000 ships. Gone in for hours. And that was just one Council fleet. "The rift is still growing," Dr. Yoonji said. She stood at the back of the room, her face pale. "More Devourers are coming through. Millions of them. They will spread across the galaxy like a plague." "What about our weapons?" Hyanwoo asked. "They should work," Yoonji said. "The quantum disruptors are designed to sever their dimensional connection. But we have never tested them in actual combat. We have never faced numbers like this." For 3 days, Council space burned. The entire worlds went dark. Colonies that had existed for thousands of years simply vanished. From all sensors, billions of beings died, their matter and energy consumed by the endless swarm. Then the messages started arriving at Earth. Bora received them all. Desperate pleas from Council members. Begging for help. Begging for mercy. Begging for the humans to save them. "Please, we were wrong. We should have listened. Send your fleet. Send your weapons. Send anything. We are dying. Whole worlds are dying. Please." High Chancellor Morthex himself sent a message directly to Ambassador Jiwoo Park. "Ambassador Park, I am sending this from the last secure facility on the Nexus station. The Council is broken. Half our members are dead or missing. The others are scattered. We were wrong. You tried to warn us, and we were too proud to listen. I am begging you now, not as Chancellor, but as a being who wants his people to live. Please help us. We will give you anything. We will do anything. Just please, stop them." Giwoo watched the message in her office. She saw the fear in Morthex A's ancient eyes. She saw the destruction visible through the windows behind him. She felt no satisfaction in being right. Only sadness. She walked to the command center where Admiral Hyanwoo was coordinating humanity's defenses. "They want our help," she said. "I know," Hyanwoo replied. "I have received 17,000 similar messages in the last day. What will you tell them?" Hyanwoo was silent for a long moment. Behind him, displays showed the Sol System's defenses. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier ready to protect their home. "The Council rejected our warnings," he said finally. "They mocked us. They called us paranoid warmongers. They prevented us from preparing their territory. They chose this, so we let them die." "I did not say that." Hyanwoo turned to face her. "I said they chose this. We get to choose our response." He activated the communication system, broadcasting on all Council frequencies. "This is Admiral Hyanwoo Choi of Earth Defense Force. We received your messages. We acknowledge your situation. Sol System borders remain closed. We will defend our territory. What happens beyond our borders is not our concern. You made that clear 6 months ago." He ended the transmission. Gu looked at him. "That is not the whole message, is it?" Hyanwoo smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "No, give me 6 hours. I need to speak with some people first. The War Council met in the deepest bunker on Earth. Admiral Hyenwu sat at the head of the table, surrounded by Earth's military and political leaders. The holographic display in the center showed the galaxy burning. Red zones marked where the Devourers had consumed everything. The red was spreading. We have a choice to make, Hyenwu said. We can stay in our fortress and hope our defenses hold. Or we can fight. Fight. General Minesio Park slammed her hand on the table. Admiral, we barely have enough ships to defend our own system. The Council had 10,000 ships, and they were destroyed in ours. What makes you think we can do better? Because we have weapons that work, Dr. Yunji said. She stood and activated another display. It showed test footage of quantum disruptors firing at dimensional anomalies. Each time the anomaly collapsed and vanished. The Council tried to fight the Devourers with energy weapons. That is like fighting fire with gasoline. Our weapons are different. They break the connection that lets the Devourers exist in our dimension. How sure are you? Minister of Defense Jae Soon Ko asked.
7%.
Yunji said. The only unknown is how they will perform in actual combat conditions. Captain Daewon stood. Admiral, if I may speak? Hyenwu nodded. The Council treated us like children, Daewon said. They ignored our warnings. They mocked our concerns. Part of me wants to let them burn for their arrogance. But if we do that, we become as small as they were. The Devourers will not stop at Council space. They will keep spreading. Eventually, they will come for us. Better to fight them now, where we can use Council territory as a battlefield, than to wait until they are at our doorstep. There is another reason, Ambassador Jiwoo said quietly. We fight because it is the right thing to do, not because they deserve it, because we are better than they were. The room fell silent. Everyone knew she was right. Everyone also knew the cost. If we commit our forces, we might lose everything, General Minesio said. If our fleet is destroyed, Earth will be defenseless. If we do nothing, Hyenwu replied, Earth will stand alone in a dead galaxy. I would rather die fighting than live in a graveyard. He looked around the table. We vote. Those in favor of military intervention? Every hand rose. Hyenwu nodded. Then we fight. Not for the Council. For ourselves. For the future. And because someone has to. 12 hours later, Captain Daewon led 500 human ships out of the Sol system. They were sleek and deadly, everyone equipped with quantum disruptors and dimensional phase drives. Behind them came transport ships carrying dimensional anchors and reality stabilizers. Dr. Yunji was aboard Daewon's flagship. She had insisted on coming, arguing that her understanding of the technology might be critical in combat. Hyenwu had reluctantly agreed. First contact in 30 minutes, the navigation officer announced. Daewon studied the tactical display. The Devourers had spread across 36 star systems. Their numbers were impossible to count. Millions. Maybe tens of millions. All ships. This is Captain Daewon Kim. Arm quantum disruptors. Prepare dimensional anchors. Remember your training. Stay in formation. Trust your weapons. Today we show the galaxy what humanity can do. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel into chaos. A council world called Vexos Prime was under attack. Thousands of Devourers swarmed around the planet, consuming its cities, its oceans, its very atmosphere. The planet's population was in the billions. Now it was in the millions, and falling fast. All ships engage at will, Daewon ordered. The human fleet opened fire. Quantum disruptor beams, looking like tears in space itself, lanced out and struck the Devourers. This time, something different happened. The Devourers did not absorb the energy. They screamed. It was not a sound that could be heard in space, but every sensor on every human ship registered it. The Devourers writhed as the quantum beams severed their connection to their home dimension. Then they collapsed into nothing, truly dying for the first time. It works. Yunji shouted, her exhaustion forgotten. Keep firing. Adjust beam frequency to match their dimensional signature. The battle raged for 6 hours. Human ships darted in and out, using their phase drives, impossible for the Devourers to track. Every shot found its mark. Every hit killed. The Devourers tried to adapt, tried to phase away. But Earth's technology matched theirs. By the end, 3,000 Devourers were dead. The human fleet had lost 12 ships. Day 1 opened a channel to what remained of Vexos Prime's government. This is Captain Kim of Earth Defense Force. We are establishing a defensive perimeter. Get your people to the designated safe zones. We will hold the line. The response was barely coherent. Sobbing thanks mixed with disbelief. They had thought they were all going to die. Dr. Yunji deployed the first-dimensional anchor near Vexos. Prime, the massive device activated, creating a field that stabilized reality itself. Within its range, the Devourers could not phase through shields or walls. They became vulnerable to conventional weapons, too. News of Earth's victory spread through Council space like wildfire. Suddenly, every surviving colony wanted human protection. Every scattered fleet wanted human weapons. Admiral Hyanwu made a broadcast that was heard across half the galaxy. Earth will share our technology with any species willing to fight. We will train your soldiers. We will help you build defenses. But understand this. We do not fight for the Council. We fight for survival. Yours and ours. If you want our help, you will fight alongside us. No more hiding behind treaties. No more political games. Stand with us or fall alone. Thousands responded. Species that had never worked together suddenly became allies. Ancient enemies set aside their hatred to face a common threat. Earth became the center of a desperate coalition. Young Su-nam, former Council diplomat who had fled to Earth months ago, helped coordinate the alliance. He knew which species could be trusted, which ones had resources, which ones would fight to the last. The Vaxri have 30 shipyards intact, Young Su reported to Hyanwu. They can build our quantum weapons if we give them the designs. The Telmara have dimensional scientists who can help Dr. Yunji improve the anchors. Give them everything, Hyanwu ordered. No secrets. No holding back. We all survive together or die apart. The counteroffensive began. Earth led a combined fleet of 8,000 ships, the largest military force ever assembled in Council space. Captain Day 1 commanded the vanguard. Captain Su-min led reconnaissance. Colonel Taeyong controlled the Ghost Fleet, striking deep behind enemy lines. They fought for 3 months straight, battle after battle, system after system. The Devourers were endless, but now they were dying. Human weapons carved through them. Dimensional anchors contained them. Slowly, painfully, the red zones on the map began to shrink, but the cost was terrible. 40% of Earth's fleet was destroyed. Millions of Allied soldiers died. Whole species were reduced to scattered survivors. High Chancellor. Morthex found Admiral Hyanwu on the bridge of his flagship after a particularly brutal battle. The old insectoid was dying. His carapace cracked from Devourer attacks, but he had insisted on fighting. Admiral Morthex said, his voice weak, "I want you to know. We should have listened. You tried to save us, and we spat on your warning. You had every right to let us die. But you came anyway. Why?" Hyanwu looked at the Chancellor. "Because that is what humans do. We make mistakes. We learn from them. And we help others avoid making the same ones, even if those others do not deserve it." Morthex clicked his mandibles in what might have been a laugh. "We called your species primitive, but you are the most civilized beings I have ever met." He died 3 hours later, killed when Devourers breached his ship's defenses. His last act was to transfer all Council authority to a joint human-alien command structure. The war continued. The galaxy burned. But now, for the first time, there was hope. The rift still pulsed at the edge of the galaxy, vomiting more Devourers into reality every day. For every one they killed, 3 more emerged. Dr. Yunji had run the calculations 1,000 times. The math was clear. They could not win by fighting alone. They had to close the rift. She presented her plan to Admiral Hyanwu in his ready room. Captain Day-Wan was there too, along with the senior staff. The only way to seal the rift permanently is with a dimensional anchor powered by a star, Yunji said. We take a massive anchor to the rift's exact center. We detonate a ship's reactor to create a temporary artificial star. The anchor uses that energy to stabilize reality and slam the rift shut. Temporary star? Day-Wan asked. How temporary? Approximately 40 seconds before it collapses, Yunji said. Long enough to activate the anchor if everything goes perfectly, and whoever delivers it. Hyenwu already knew the answer. Will not come back, Yunji said quietly. The ship has to stay in position. Someone has to manually adjust the anchor as it activates. The energy release will vaporize everything within 1,000 kilometers. The room was silent. We'll do it, Yunji said. I designed the anchor. I know it better than anyone. I can make the final adjustments if something goes wrong. No, Day-Wan said immediately. We can program the ship to do it remotely. Captain, you know that will not work, Yunji said. The dimensional interference near the rift is too strong. Remote signals will not get through. It has to be manual. Then I will do it, Day-Wan said. You are too valuable to lose, Yunji smiled sadly. Everyone is valuable, Captain. But I am the only one who can guarantee this works. We have one chance. We cannot afford to fail because someone did not understand the technology. Hyenwu looked at her for a long moment. You are sure? I have been sure since I first saw the calculations, Yunji said. I have been preparing for this. I volunteered, Admiral. Let me do what I was meant to do. The plan was set. They would gather every available ship for one final massive assault. Push through the devourer swarms to reach the rift. Give Yunji the time she needed to activate the anchor and seal the wound in reality forever. 2 weeks later, 12,000 ships gathered at the staging point. Human vessels mixed with alien allies. Species that had been strangers or enemies now flew side by side. All of them knew what was at stake. Captain Day-Wan commanded the escort fleet that would take Yunji to the rift. 500 of humanity's best ships, the Ghost Fleet formed the vanguard. On the morning of the assault, Yunji visited the memorial wall on the command station. Thousands of names were carved there, human and alien. All those who had died fighting the devourers. She ran her hand across the smooth surface. I will join you soon, she whispered. Wait for me. Day-Wan? Found her there. Ready? He asked. Yes, she said. Then she turned and hugged him. Thank you for giving us a chance, Captain. Thank you for choosing to fight. Thank you for finding a way to win, he replied. The assault began. 12,000 ships charged the rift. The devourers came to meet them in numbers that blotted out the stars. The largest battle in galactic history erupted across 100 cubic light-years. Ships died by the hundreds. But they kept pushing forward. Every loss brought another kilometer toward the rift. Human quantum weapons carved paths through the swarm. Allied ships followed, protecting each other, covering weaknesses, fighting as one force. Day-Wan's escort fleet pushed through the worst of it. His ship, carrying Yunji and the anchor, became the tip of a spear driving toward the rift. All around them, ships exploded. Devourers threw themselves at the fleet with suicidal fury, as if they sensed what was about to happen. We are losing too many ships. His tactical officer shouted. Keep going. Day-Wan ordered. We do not stop for anything. A devourer the size of a moon appeared directly in their path. It was ancient and massive, having consumed entire worlds. Day-Wan watched as 20 ships threw themselves at it, dying to clear the way. The creature fell, severed from its dimension by concentrated quantum fire. Finally, possibly, they reached the rift. Up close, it was worse than any recording had shown. Reality itself was broken here. Space folded in impossible ways. Time moved differently in different spots. Looking at it too long made the mind hurt. Dr. Lee, you are clear to launch, Day-Wan said. EUN-G sat in her small ship, the massive dimensional anchor attached beneath it. She activated her engines. Captain Day-Wan, she said over the communication channel. Tell them I was not afraid. Tell them I did this willingly. Tell them Earth kept its word. I will, Daewon said, his voice breaking. Godspeed, Doctor. Yunji's ship accelerated toward the rift. Devourers swarmed after her, but Daewon's fleet cut them down. Nothing would reach her. They would make sure of that. She plunged into the rift center, where the dimensional barriers were thinnest. The anchor deployed, its field generators spinning up. She could feel reality bending around her, trying to tear her apart. Anchor stable, she reported. Initiating reactor overload. 30 seconds to detonation. Around the rift, every ship held position. They formed a wall between Yunji and the endless devourers. They would give her every second she needed. 20 seconds. Field generators at maximum. Everything is holding. Daewon watched on his screens as devourers slammed against their defensive line. His fleet was down to 300 ships, then 200. 10 seconds. Making final adjustments. The anchor will hold. Tell Admiral Haeonwoo, it will hold. Youngji's hands flew across her controls. The ship shook as reality itself fought against what she was doing. Alarms screamed. The hull began to glow white-hot. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, the reactor detonated. For 40 seconds, a new star was born. The dimensional anchor drank that power and used it to heal reality. The rift began to collapse, shrinking faster and faster. Devourers caught in the collapse were pulled screaming back to their own dimension. Then the rift sealed. The wound in space healed. The flow of devourers stopped. EUNG's last transmission was a simple one. Tell them Earth kept its word. Tell them we warned them. And tell them we saved them anyway. Then her ship and everything within 1,000 kilometers turned to light and vanished. The silence that followed was profound. 12,000 ships hung in space, staring at where the rift had been. It was gone. Truly gone. The invasion was over. Daewon sat in his command chair, tears running down his face. Around him, his crew wept openly. They had won. The cost had been terrible, but they had won. The battle was over, but the war had taken its toll. 40% of Earth's fleet was destroyed. 30,000 human soldiers were dead. Millions of Allied forces had fallen. Hundreds of worlds were gone, consumed by the Devourers before they could be stopped. But the galaxy survived. 3 months later, Galactic Council reconvened. Not in the grand chamber that had been destroyed, but in a simple meeting hall on a surviving station. Representatives from 200 species gathered. Many seats were empty, their occupants dead or their species extinct. Ambassador Ji-Woo Park stood at the center. She wore black in honor of those who had fallen. Captain Daewon stood beside her in his dress uniform. Members of the Reformed Council, Ji-Woo began. 1 year ago, Earth came to you with a warning. We showed you evidence. We begged you to prepare. You ignored us. You mocked us. You told us we were paranoid warmongers, seeing threats that did not exist. The assembled aliens looked down, unable to meet her eyes. 6 months later, the rift opened. The Devourers came. You tried to fight with your old weapons and your old ways. 10,000 ships died in hours. Worlds burned. Billions perished. You were wrong. We were right. Guo paused, letting the words sink in. You sent us desperate messages. You begged for help. You promised us anything. And we came. Not because you deserved it, not because you had earned it, but because it was the right thing to do. Because while you saw us as primitive, we understood something you had forgotten. Sometimes you help others not because they deserve it, but because someone has to. She activated a holographic display. Dr. Yoonji's face appeared, smiling in one of her last photographs. This is Dr. Yoonji Lee. She designed the weapons that killed the Devourers. She created the anchors that protected your worlds. She solved the problem of closing the rift. And she gave her life to seal it forever. She did not do this for glory. She did not do it for gratitude. She did it so that all of us could live. Ji-Woo turned to face the council directly. Earth has terms. We will share all our defensive technology freely. We will help rebuild what was lost. But in return, the Council will establish a permanent, united galactic defense force. Species will contribute ships and resources fairly. No more will one species be mocked for raising concerns. No more will warnings be ignored because of pride or politics. We defend each other, or we do not deserve to survive. She waited. No one spoke? All those in favor? Every representative raised their hand, tentacle, or appendage. The vote was unanimous. Then let us begin, Ji-Woo said. Admiral Heon-woo became the first Supreme Commander of the United Galactic Defense Force. Yang-Soo became his Chief Diplomatic Officer. Helping forge alliances between species, Captain Dae-won took command of the Rapid Response Fleets, ensuring no threat would ever again go unanswered. On Earth, humanity built a monument in Geneva. At its center was a statue of Dr. Yoon-ji Lee, looking up at the stars. Carved around the base were the names of every human who had died in the war. 30,000 names. At the very top was an inscription in every known language. We warned you. You did not listen. We saved you anyway. Below that, smaller words. May we never forget the cost of pride. May we always remember the value of unity. May we honor those who gave everything so that all of us could have tomorrow. Delegations from across the galaxy came to visit the monument. Some came to pay respects. Some came to apologize. All of them came to remember Earth had become the guardian of the galaxy, not through conquest, not through force, through sacrifice and the simple act of doing what was right when no one else would, and when new species joined the Council. When they asked why humanity held such an honored position, they were shown the recordings. They were told the story. They learned about the warning that was ignored, the battle that was won, and the price that was paid. They learned that humanity had earned their place not by being the strongest, but by being willing to stand alone when necessary and extend a hand when possible. That was Earth's final message to the galaxy. Not spoken in words, but proven in blood and sacrifice. We warned you. Now you know we were right. And despite everything, we will always fight to protect you, because that is what it means to be human.